What's up gamers, Dreamcastguy here, talking today about Fallout 76, the epic dumpster fire by Bethesda that just keeps managing to screw up. Now let me just be honest right up front, I've actually tried to film this video about 10 separate times, but I just keep laughing, so I'm having to restart, but this time I'm going to get it right. So by now, we all realize that Fallout 76 was a giant lie. Everything about it was pretty much complete deception when they said that it would have 4 times of a bigger map than any other Fallout game. That was not true. They said that it would have giant online lobbies that could allow you to play with tons of your friends at once, and yet that wasn't really the case because matchmaking and online lobbies were kind of a broken mess for several months. They said that this would manage to replicate the fun of the Fallout experience, and yet it was a giant empty wasteland with pretty much no real interesting quests. But the real lies that actually managed to just piss me off the most was the fact that from the beginning they kept claiming one very specific thing. It would be a different kind of always online experience. Yes, you can't play it by yourself, and yes, you're not able to just enjoy it purely on your own, but instead, this is something that requires you to be on the internet, and a lot of times when I hear always online, I think loot crates. Microtransactions immediately come to mind, but Bethesda kept saying, okay, yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of microtransactions in it, but they'll be cosmetic only. We'll just sell you the biggest costumes and the coolest outfits and the sexiest clothes, but it won't actually affect gameplay. Well, this was definitely changed. Over time, when they realized that the project wasn't very lucrative, they decided to implant things like purchasing repair kits to fix your gear, to keep your super weapons being very, very super, or purchasing things to actually keep it where your items would last longer, like the refrigerator to keep your food preserved. This, to me, was extremely aggravating as a person who was trying to be interested in the game because, honestly, it made it where the best players could pay to be even better. I hate pay-to-win mechanics, but I actually hate pay to succeed. I hate it when there's a game that allows you to really just swipe your credit card to get an extra level of success. But here's the thing that really manages to irk me in a lot of the fan base, which is that there was this constant flowery promise by Bethesda that the game could grow and change. This is not a development team that immediately moved on to the next project, which meant that they could listen to fan feedback, and maybe if there was some sort of change that wasn't good, they could fix it. This turned out to just not be the case at all. In fact, they've actually been introducing new glitches as they've tried to fix the minor updates. But here's the biggest thing. They kept saying that they would actually eventually introduce single-player-like NPCs, so you could try and play the game a little bit more like, a standard Fallout game, and they kept calling it the Wastelanders update. So what I have here is actually an email directly from Bethesda themselves, and it's a little bit funny because I think the Wastelanders update had a lot of potential. I think the idea of trying to at least make this closer to a standard Fallout was a very good choice. But here's the thing. First of all, it turns out that the Wastelanders update is going to be delayed again. So if you're trying to play this game, don't bother because it's still just going to be a giant empty landscape of burned out husks and tape recordings. But additionally, after all the good news that's in this email, it talks about bringing in private worlds, it talks about actually coming out with cool stuff. Then at the bottom, there's this huge post that says, challenges Atoms, the Atomic Shop, and you. Okay, buckle up. This one is an absolute doozy. Let me just try and read this, or at least a big chunk of this, because you really need to hear it to understand why this is so offensive and disrespectful to the fans that are still playing. Oh my gosh, the language in this is just so ridiculous. We love that there's so many types of players within Fallout 76, and one of our primary goals is to reward everyone no matter how you play. This includes our approach to earning atoms through challenges and the types of items you unlock in the Atomic Shop. Our approach to these items at launch was to keep them purely cosmetic. Alright, are you ready for this? But, and it's the world's biggest but right there, after looking at the data, it became clear that to consistently deliver content that keeps Fallout 76 fresh and exciting for all, we needed to rethink our approach to the Atomic Shop. The worst thing in the world is when a company says, hey, we're going to increase microtransactions because it'll make you happy. Alright, let me read the rest of this. While we had many ideas on what to add to the Atomic Shop, one of the ways was the direct result of the community's feedback. We heard from many of you who wanted items with some real utility. Starting in April, we began adding items such as repair kits, scrap kits, the collection station, and a working refrigerator. These have since become the most popular category in the Atomic Shop. We're also still working on all the previously announced items and new cosmetic categories. We want to create an Atomic Shop experience where players feel good about spending their hard-earned atoms. And money, because remember, atoms are purchased with real money more than they're actually earned. To make the system more fun and engaging for all players, we plan on reworking parts of the challenge or reward system next year to be more fun and more impactful for all types of players. Of course, players can also buy atoms, and we're careful with everything we add not to upset the game's balance. Our main objective is to avoid a situation where players can spend money to gain a competitive advantage. I'm not reading any more of this BS. Oh my god! Here's my thing. People sometimes say, Dreamcastguy, it's not a big deal. Microtransactions are not an issue. This is just a small flaw of the times. My problem, and it's always been my only problem with microtransactions, is that if you allow a small amount, it turns into a big amount. At the beginning, they were claiming that they were just going to sell you some sweet clothes, and now they're literally trying to sell you key pieces of the gameplay loop. Hey, you already paid $60 for the game, you already possibly paid for some sort of microtransactions here and there, and to reward you, we're going to be selling you even more microtransactions. These companies have realized that it's actually more lucrative to just try and scam you out of $3 every single day instead of selling you a $30 amazing piece of DLC. This is part of the reason that I'm still just so blown away by The Witcher 3, and playing through it again right now on the Nintendo Switch has really managed to impress me because that game is such an incredible value. It is currently $60 and is about 200 hours of epic RPG experience. Could you imagine Bethesda in this day and age actually making a game worth a damn? No. Honestly, I'm at a point where when Bethesda comes out with stuff, I am extremely skeptical. I'm more trusting of things like Doom. Obviously, Doom is sort of a Bethesda project because they're publishing it, but at least that's by id. People who understand stuff. I am still just so blown away. Most of you have probably stopped playing Fallout 76 months ago, but here's my lesson. Don't accept microtransactions. None of them. Zero. Zilch. There is no such thing as an acceptable cost. The slippery slope just keeps getting wetter. They're going to constantly go, well, this worked, so let's try this. Every game developer wants to try and push the envelope to get inside your wallet. The more that they think that they can get away with, the more they'll try and get away with it. Bethesda, in my eyes, is pretty much a shell of their former greatness. Fallout 76 is practically a scam, and now at this point, even as I consider myself one of the biggest Skyrim fans on the planet, I am going to be immediately skeptical when we finally get a chance to see Elder Scrolls 6. It's probably going to have some sort of microtransactions because now at this point they know that people, at least to some degree, are willing to accept it. This is what companies do now, is what they decide is they sell games. When most of the player base quits, they find a way to abuse the people who have stuck around. The most hardcore fans are the highest paying customers, and to you, they're just a wallet. You're just literally, all they want is to make sure they can get one more scoop of your cash. There isn't even a lesson here. I wish that there was some nice grand thing I could sum this up with, but really, we lost. Fallout 76 is dead, and really, there's not even going to be a funeral for it. God. Well, thanks so much for watching this rant. I'm going over to Retropalooza to talk about games with everybody. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all, and keep dreaming. Damn. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.